Using sexual imagery and suggestions to sell products has been around for centuries. One of the first companies that used this was Pearl Tobacco in 1871, when they introduced a naked maiden in the front of their cigarette packets. Pearl Tobacco then changed the way the cigarettes were marketed, and Jukes and Sons, also another cigarette company, started to have financial problems, and the way that they came out of that issue was in 1890 they introduced trading cards that you got inside cigarette packets with sexy provocative starlets, as they called them, which you could trade with other people and collect the whole bunch. This trading card system of sexually provocative women drove the company out of the financial rut that it was in, as people wanted to have each of the cards with all the different women on and trade them with their friends, and so everyone was buying the packets of cigarettes even if they didn't smoke, just so they could trade the cards. Woodbury's Facial Shop had a similar approach to the Jukes and Son, where they almost discontinued due to the lack of sales, and that was instantly reversed by advertising the product with romantic couples promising love and intimacy when you use the product. This was used in an advert where the couple are suggesting that this product will give you this love and intimacy that these people have in the TV advertisement. The video that's playing at the moment is Clairol in 1970. There's a double entendre in it where it says, "Does she or doesn't she? Only her hairdresser knows for sure." This is suggesting, in the advert it's talking about her hair, but it's also sexually suggestive towards the women, and maybe that she's having an affair with her hairdresser or something along those lines. Just listen out to the advert now.
Does she or doesn't she? Miss Clairol hair color looks so natural, only her hairdresser knows for sure. Yet just after the baby was born, she caught a glimpse of herself. Her hair seemed lifeless, so faded. Then she tried Miss Clairol. Now she looks as wonderful as she feels. Miss Clairol really covers gray, keeps hair color young, radiant, sparkling with life. So beautifully soft and silky. Miss Clairol hair color bath, the natural-looking hair coloring. So quick and easy, you'll love it.
Calvin Klein were the next to promote their products using sex and sexually suggestive vocabulary. I'll come back to this in more detail later on in the video, as Calvin Klein promote their whole brand to this day using sexually suggestive imagery and promotion. Why is it so successful in the market? Some psychologists have found that everybody is curious about sex and the relationship they have with the opposite sex, and the market exploits this. Including sexuality in a provocative way can stimulate the viewer's emotions. Sex is suggested towards love, which connotes a trust and caring bond. This is reflected and can come across as a bond to the viewer in relation to the product. So if you see a video where a person is attracting women through the use of that product, then people will feel that if they use that product too, they will also achieve the similar sort of thing. And also, if you watch a video and people are being loving and affectionate towards each other, that suggests and connotes a bond and trust, which you start to feel towards a product, even though it's not a real situation. Like I said, it's sometimes suggested that using that product, women will come alongside with the product. Lynx and Budweiser have used this technique in advertising over and over and over again. I'll just play you a short clip of a Lynx advertisement where it suggests that if you use a body spray, women will fall at your feet instantly. And people believe that, and people believe that if they use that same thing will happen to them, even though it's a situation created just for the advert. But people's desire and need for love and attention is desperate in a way, and they'll do, if the advert is telling them that it will happen, they believe it will happen. using sexually suggestive things in advertising is very successful. However, there are a small demographic of people that it repels, and this reason advertisers have to be subtle and discreet in the way that they portray and use this method in adverts, because they don't want to repel the people that would get offended, and if someone gets offended by something, they could start an online campaign and it could make or break your company within days. However, then again, some people say all publicity is good publicity. As I said, I'll come back to the Calvin Klein. The first advert that Calvin Klein, the first TV commercial that Calvin Klein put forward to the audience and public was one including Brooke Shield, where she used sexual words and expressions. However, this got banned as she was 15 when she made the TV advert. I'll play it on screen for you now.
Could well have been the last hurrah for the
You want to know what comes between me and my Calvins? Nothing.
Calvin Klein jeans.
Even after banning this product, the money that Calvin Klein were making grew enormously because of the publicity that they got. Even though it was bad publicity, just people were looking up the advert to see it because people were talking about it, and Calvin Klein started selling 2 million pairs of jeans a month. Calvin Klein carried on the sexual imagery with their next advert in the end of the 70s, with Petty Hansen on all fours looking at the camera in a seductive way. And this is where the Calvin Klein link with sexuality and in their adverts was born, and it just grew from there. In 1997, Calvin Klein's adverts were compared to pornography, as their adverts included auditions or such for cast members of the Calvin Klein advertising crew, and the interviewer was flirting with the cast members. This became very controversial, as people felt uncomfortable watching it, as they felt that it was, as the bad camera was not, and the angle and the setting and things were suggestive of that of a porn movie. This did not get banned, but it was very controversial and still made Calvin Klein lots of money. After all these scandals of Calvin Klein, they still use the sex in their advertising today, with people in women in just Calvin Klein jeans and topless. But in 2012 they had worldwide sales until this day, and the brand is known for sex and they have high revenue. So in this case, promoting their product using sex sells. So sex in the Calvin Klein industry sells and makes them money. This means that using the sexual imagery and suggestions in an advertising campaign will lead to success. Not in all cases, but in some cases, especially in the Calvin Klein's case, it was very successful.
As for you.
Why?
I don't want to.
Well, there's a reason.
Yeah?
Do you always do what you don't want to do?
No, I always do what I want to do, and I don't do what I don't want to do.
You got a real good at?
Using sexually suggestive things in advertising is very successful. However, there are a small demographic of people that it repels, and this reason advertisers have to be subtle and discreet in the way that they portray and use this method in adverts, because they don't want to repel the people that would get offended, and if someone gets offended by something, they could start an online campaign and it could make or break your company within days. However, then again, some people say all publicity is good publicity. 92% of beauty adverts contain women in 2003. I think this is so important to include in my advert. From all the research that I found, looking into why sexually suggestive shots and vocabulary is important, because it appeals to so many different people in many different ways, whether it's the suggestion of sexual pleasure, the suggestion that it makes you more attractive, the suggestion that this product will bring you what you desire, and everybody on some level has some sort of sexual desire in themselves. and they have that natural gravitation towards attention, whether it's sexual or not. Just that need for attention that these products are offering them will draw you in, but it has to be relevant to the product. So for my advert, I won't include barely dressed women because I'm advertising the clothes. I think that the best way for me to go forwards with the sexually suggestive advertisements is to include shots of close-up shots of parts of the body that women and men desire, such as their lower side, their chest, and their legs maybe.